Oh, good.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Benjamin.
We're going on.
Hey, Benjamin.
Give us 4 seconds.
How is everyone today?
Good.
Cold.
Oh, here.
Okay,
We need chocolate.
that would be nice.
Hot chocolate.
So this is, where are my notes? This is Sam Vandy Vandewater calling this, calling this June 9th, 2021 meeting to order at 2:02 p.m. We will begin with roll call. Pencil. So we have Planning and Building Services is present. Museum representative.
Present.
Archaeologist representative.
Present.
Native American representative is absent with notice. No industry representative and alternate representative.
Present.
So item 2 is Archaeological Commission administration. The applications listed below will be reviewed by the Archaeological Commission. You are invited to view the meeting on YouTube and provide any information pertinent to these applications. If you have photographs of the site, you are encouraged to email them to the above email address by 2 p.m. on June 9th, 2021. Do we have any public submissions for any of the items?
Yes, we have a few public comments. We have public expression for all the applicants, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the applicants are in attendance?
The applicants
Okay.
are in attendance.
But no, like, general public comment?
We do have general public comments for some of the cases, CDP 2020-2022-22.
So item 4B,
Comment.
we have public comment for item 4B.
And Randy Burke, is he an agent? Yes, he's an agent.
Okay, so,
We have one telecomment.
okay, and that's for 4B.
Yes.
So we will hear that telecomment at, when item 4B comes up. So moving on the agenda, we have item 3, surveys required. And we have case 3A, which is MS 2020-0004. However, the applicants were unable to attend this meeting, or the agent is unable to attend this meeting, and is requesting a continuance. So I'm just going to make the motion that we continue to the July 14th Planning Commission. Can I have a second, please?
Second the motion.
Second.
Thank you. All those in
Which
favor?
case was that?
The first one, 3A.
Okay, thank you.
So all those in favor, aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Item is continued. So next on the agenda is case 3B, which is CDP 2017-0010. The owner applicant is Mi Xiaozhai. The agent is Spade Natural Resources Consulting. The request is a coastal development permit to construct a 2-story, 1,500 square foot single-family residence, a new well, a new septic, new gas and pipelines, and the existing structure, the existing residence, 3 storage sheds and a gazebo will be demolished due to fire damage. And this is located north of Fort Bragg at the address of 22530 North Highway 1. Do we have anyone in attendance for this item?
Yes, the agent is here to speak. Teresa Spade, let me.
So we will bring Teresa Spade in, and the commission will discuss amongst themselves, and then we will open up to Teresa to comment before making a motion. So before I let Teresa provide any additional comment, was there any comments or discussion among the commission?
Well, I just spent the last hour and a half going through all of these, and so I've already made my decisions on all of them, so. Because this is so close
We need to
the
make our
coast.
decisions based off, once we need to have our conversation first.
Okay, fine.
So is there any discussion on this item?
Yeah, I will discuss that,
Okay.
it's near the, and, I recommended a survey because of possible shellmen. Because it's on the coastal bluffs.
Do any other commissioners have comments? Seeing none.
As I understand it, the older structure is going to be demolished, and the new one is going to be put in the same footprint of the old one? If you can, what I mean.
That I'm not sure about.
Looks like it's larger, so it couldn't be exactly.
Well, we have the agent for the project, so let's allow Teresa to provide her comment.
Yeah, that's a good question.
She's still in the 10 days. Do we need to?
No, she's-
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hi. Unfortunately, I'm joining on my cell phone because for some reason I can't seem to get online on my computer. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I wanted to come today because there's a couple different possible things that I thought you might be discussing today. One of them was the need for an archaeological survey, and then the second one was the need for some kind of a historical review for the structures. And I do have photographs, and I had sent an email yesterday that you responded to and gave me the Zoom link, but I had asked in that email if there was a way for me to send the photographs, and I didn't get a response to that. And I apologize, this is the first time that I have attempted to do something like this, to send photographs for the Archaeological Commission meeting. So I didn't really know what the process was. But I do have a number of photographs of the site available for you to see if you wanted to review those. Basically the situation with the site is it had a residence there for many, many years. It has a significant amount of invasive and non-native vegetation covering almost all of the site. It's really covered with vegetation that is pretty thick in a lot of places. There is a part of it next to the driveway for the neighbor's property is less thick, and it has you can actually see the ground over in that part, and there's rare plants over in that location. They're actually federally protected plants. And so starting in 2016-17, I've been surveying that area pretty intensively. And so I have been spending a lot of time looking at any area of the ground that is available to look at, because I'm looking for these special status plant species. And I'm not an archaeologist. I'm going to just say that up front. But I did not see any shell middens. I've not seen any other things like projectile points or other flakes or anything like that on the site. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I have been looking very carefully, because the plant species I'm looking for, house spine flower, is very small. So it is something, that I just wanted you to keep in mind. And then the second thing is, I took a lot of pictures of the structures, because although the structures are old enough to possibly be historic resources, they are really not in any good shape. The main residence is entirely covered in plants on one side. invasive ivy covering an entire, side of the structure. And the structures are all very old and in disrepair. So I wanted to come here to just kind of explain the site to you a little bit.
So they're fire damaged, all the buildings?
So the main structure, which is a residence, suffered from fire damage. It is very old and in disrepair. There are some accessory structures there, such as old sheds that are also in a state of significant disrepair, leaning. I do have pictures of those structures as well.
Excuse me, this is Angie Lane, administrative, and I can promote Teresa to a panelist, and then she would be able to share pictures that she's talking.
Well, you can try that, but from my understanding was that she couldn't. Teresa, oh,
she's on her phone.
Was the issues on your end? It sounded like with the computer.
Oh, hold on just a second. I need to figure out how to turn it up.
Oh, I think we just lost her.
Well, she's sort of back.
I was trying to understand what the difference in square footage between the new structure and the old one was.
Okay, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I know that the new structure was previously proposed to be kind of more in the center of the lot, because at that time, I was under the impression that Fish and Wildlife would want it farther away from the stream that's on this kind of adjacent to the property on the side there. But it turns out that Fish and Wildlife would prefer to have it in the same footprint as the existing structure. So we are revising the plans to have the structure be basically in the same footprint as the structure that is now. So I don't believe there's a real significant difference in terms of the size of the structure. However, there will need to be a new driveway into the property, because the existing driveway is where the only place that they can put the septic system. And so, there will be impacts, ground disturbing impacts for the septic system. In a location, that is previously disturbed because the driveway was there. But then there will also be a new driveway. It's going to be coming in off of the neighbor's driveway, so it won't be super long, but it will be another impact. So that is something to consider.
Okay, so you didn't see, did you look in those areas for plants also?
The problem with looking in those areas is that a lot of those areas are really thickly covered by plant species already. There's a lot of invasive ivy in there, and there's a lot of other species in there that really cover a lot of the site. So I looked in, I basically made a plant list of every plant that was on the site. And so I have looked at the entire site. However, ground, the amount of area where you can actually see the soil is pretty limited on that site. I would have to say that like maybe 20% to 30% at most of the site, you can actually see the dirt, and the rest of it is just really significantly covered with vegetation.
I didn't really notice a stream. There, you said there's a stream that's running through the site?
It does not run through the site. It actually runs directly adjacent to the site behind the structure. And so it's on the neighboring property, and it's just to the north of the subject property, just beyond the property boundary. And if you look on the area, go ahead.
Is it a year-round stream?
No, I don't believe so. I believe right now it's actually dry. However, it does connect to a pond that you can see on aerial photography that is kind of westward of that stream location.
So did you have those photos? Are we going to be able to see the photos?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm sharing my screen with you or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this, my screen is black for some reason, and I'm not sure why it's black on my end.
Let's see. Mine's red. It's covered up.
Teresa, you're muted.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I don't know if I'm sharing my screen now.
Yes.
Can you
You
see it
are.
at all?
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, so you can see me right there, but for some reason that part of my screen is black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix my settings. I've got actually two screens going on right now. And I think I need to,
If you go back to that share screen button, it can ask you if you want to share a specific screen as an option.
okay, share screen. Oh, photos, here we go. Okay, share. Thank you. All right, so do you see this now?
Yes.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Okay, so so this is the structure looking from the neighbor's driveway, which is, I believe, to the south. And this is the other side of the structure where it's covered with the vegetation there. Oh, and so the stream is over on this side. There's a fence really, can you see my pointer at all?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a fence right along here. The house is very close to the neighboring property to the north, and the stream is just beyond the fence that's right over here. That's the electrical panel. Here's another view of the structure. This is the entry to the structure right here. Another view, and you can kind of see the thicker vegetation on the side over here. This is the side that's along the highway. So this is directly adjacent to the highway on Highway 1, just north of Fort Bragg. And again, the stream is going to be on this side over here, just kind of right off the screen here. And here you can kind of see where this fence is the neighbor's fenced, and the stream is just about in here. This is the neighbor's house to the west. Here are some of the accessory structures that are on the property here. And so you can kind of see the condition of these structures that are there. This is another structure that's out there. And I believe that's all my pictures.
In terms of historic, go ahead.
Oh no, Bill, I was just going to ask if there are any more questions for Teresa.
No, I think no, I'm good.
Commissioner McBean or Commissioner Lockhart, did you have any questions?
No, no other questions.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
Okay, you're welcome.
So with that, does the commission have any more discussion or any actions, or what would the commission like to do?
Well, I would give you my ideas. As far as the building, it's not a classic, it's not of classic historical architecture or Victorian period or anything. And it is in terrible disarray. Also, I'm familiar with that area, and the shell middens are much closer to the ocean, and I will accept our Teresa's ability to recognize what a shell midden is. And so I'm going to pass on requesting a survey.
So is that a motion?
No, that's my idea.
Okay. Do we have a motion at all from Commissioner McBean or Lockhart, or any additional comment?
I make a motion, yes, I make a motion that we accept without need for any further survey.
So I have a motion by Commissioner McBean to accept the project with no survey required. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Or I have a second by Commissioner Cull. We'll take a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services will be a yes. Museum representative.
Aye.
Archaeologist representative.
Aye.
And alternate representative.
I'll say yes.
Okay, so the motion carries 4-0. No survey will be required.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay. So, we will move on. Yes?
Hey, Vandy, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Can we can automatically assume that the discovery clause applies, right?
Yeah, yes, the discovery clause always applies if we do not require a survey. Or if a survey's been completed and nothing was found, the discovery clause would still apply in that instance as well. So the next item is 3C, which is my project, and the applicants were unable to attend this meeting, but would like to attend. So they are requesting a continuance to the July meeting so that they may be in attendance for this item. So I'm going to make the motion that we continue item 3C, which is case CDP 2019-0003. Can I have a second?
And this motion is to put it off? Is that...
Yeah, to continue it to the next meeting because the applicants couldn't be in attendance.
Okay.
Aye. So does all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
I
just want to say here, sorry, I just want to bring up that my internet connection is unstable in case I suddenly wink out here.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. Let's see. Continued. 4-. Okay. So next item is case 3D. This is CDP 2020-0029. The owner applicant is the North Wallala Water Company. The agent is Randy Burke. The request is an administrative coastal development permit for the construction of a 29,000-gallon water tank, excuse me, to replace a failed pre-existing water tank removed under an emergency CDP that provides service to 117 water customers. The project includes the replacement of cement water lines, PVC, and other water service reconnections, as well as 5 fire hydrants in the area not currently able to provide adequate volumes of demand or points of connection. This is located northeast of the town of Anchor Bay, located at an address of 46150 Sunset Drive, Anchor Bay. I believe we have both the agent, Randy Burke, as well as the planner for the project, Siobhan Holmes. So we will have a brief discussion amongst the commission, and then we will turn to the agent and for the project for additional comment. So before we bring in Randy, is there any discussion amongst the commission?
Well, I was wondering, it's a replacement in kind, I assume. So that's a question.
Okay. So
And,
do we want to bring Randy in then, since we already have questions? Okay.
Yeah.
Randy's in?
So Randy, you're able to speak. I'm not sure if you heard the question, but they were just curious how much of the project is in kind.
Thank you for holding this today. This is Randy. It's a complete replacement, everything in kind. The tank and the water lines. The water line will be upsized, as explained, to provide better service to the area for firefighting capabilities and potable water disbursement to the customers. So it's a replacement in kind. No new water connections are being involved here, and no new development. It's the pipeline itself is going to go adjacent to the existing pipeline. So it's going to follow this pretty much the same prism within which it sits already. Talk to the paving department of transportation, and we've discussed how we're going to repave the situation, and that's kind of about it. It's a replacement in kind, to answer your question.
Is Ferguson Creek, is that year round?
I don't think so. I think it's dry right now. If I'm familiar with a couple of months ago, it was starting to get very, very slow. So I haven't seen it in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. So what's the, so it's actually not a replacement in kind, but there's an offset? Or is it actually a replacement? You're going to dig up the old line and put in a new one?
We're going to dig right next to the old line. We're going to leave the old line in place to use it for possible conduit connections of any electrical that we might come up with in the future. So it's going to be right next to the old pipeline.
Okay.
In some cases, that pipeline's in the pavement. In some cases, it's right on the edge road right away.
Uh-huh.
I think the only thing up there of archaeological substance is the tank. It's a wooden tank, a redwood wooden tank that was built in the 60s. And we left it there to not disrupt the neighborhood when we did it under the coastal development permit, emergency permit. We took it out of service and replaced it with 2 temporary tanks on somebody's property up there, because it's a dosing station that doses from the bottom. There's a midpoint for collection and storage to pump up to another tank. And so we had to have it in service. We couldn't do anything else about it. So we put 2 temporary tanks on somebody's property by an agreement that we have with them. And those are temporary polyethylene tanks, waiting until we build the new tank. Transfer it back over to the new tank. And the new tank will sit in the same footprint pretty much as the old tank.
Is the elevation of the pipeline, is it constant?
It flows, the pipeline has a minimum of 30 inches of cover, as we've been able to determine, and it follows the road gradient. So if it's going uphill, the pipeline's following the road gradient 30 inches below the pavement, usually plus or minus a couple of inches. And then you go into dips, it falls down too. So there's ups and downs depending upon the topography of the roadway.
What's the width of the trench?
The width will be about 2 feet. we'll probably try to keep that down as low as possible to 18 inches, but we need to have good bedding around the pipe, the new pipe that's installed. So you're looking at a max of about 2 feet.
How do you know how long? This is Vandy. How long when you start ground disturbance to when you finish? How long do you expect the pipeline to be? How much time?
Well, that project should be a 3-month project for the pipeline. From the point of excavation, testing, chlorinating, getting it up to state standards. The tank itself will probably be about a 4 or 5 month construction timing. There will be piers that have to be driven into the ground underneath the existing tank footprint, if you will. Once the piers are done, then we can contact the tank construction company. It'll be about 4 to 5 months to build the tank itself.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners?
Is that a normal time frame?
I'm not sure, honestly. I haven't done many projects with this kind of thing. Well, thank you, Randy. I'm not sure. It looks like there's no more questions at this time, unless you have anything additional you'd like to add.
No, what we're doing is we're attempting to get grant funding, and the planning department and building department have been very helpful in that with the division of drinking water. So it's just something that's kind of got to happen to make this system more reliable and redundant in a sense. It's a critical component within our water system to the north of our source. So it's a long way away from town, and something that we'd really like to do. So we're looking at the grant funding, and we're in the process of trying to attempt to get either a 75 or 100% grant fund on this, so it would save the customers any rates. And that's being taken care of right now by the Division of Drinking Water, or the State Water Resources Control Board, excuse me.
I was kind of considering a survey within a couple hundred feet of each side of the drainage of Ferguson.
I'd be supportive of that. I was thinking that we could approve the project with a condition that they obtain a survey prior to approval of the, oh, that doesn't work. We can't do that. Never mind. I agree with Commissioner Cull's suggestion. Anything
I
from?
would live with that. Yeah.
Do you have any comments, Commissioner McBean?
No.
Okay, so Commissioner Cull, I don't know if you want to make that a motion.
And then, is Siobhan still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe.
What's that area like, where the water line is going to go across Ferguson? How are you going to deal with it going across? Will that be exposed and put up in the air across the Ferguson Creek or Gulch? Or?
Is that a question?
She's having technical difficulties.
Well, it sounds like Siobhan has some technical difficulties. Randy, I didn't know, could you answer that question with what are the conditions of Sunset Drive crossing over Ferguson Gulch, and how is I'm guessing the piping is going to be underneath?
No, this is following the road. There's a culvert underneath that carries that water thread from one side of the road to the other.
Right.
And it's about 30 feet deep on the low side, and it's about 10 feet deep on the high side. And will follow the alignment that it had originally, be about 30 inches deep going through the pavement and over that culvert.
Okay.
So that existing culvert is what conducts the water from one side of the road to the other. And we're not going under the creek. We're not going into the creek. And we're holding pretty much the same elevation of what exists there already. We'll continue right over across the top of that culvert.
Okay.
Siobhan,
There's really no reason to go off the edge of the roadway for any construction work down into that creek area, if that answers your question. It's all up on the road, on the pavement.
I wondered about that too.
Well, I mean, what are we gonna have them survey if they're only digging up the road for most of this? Because I was thinking earlier, my question with the timeline of the project was potentially an arc monitor during ground disturbance. So I don't know if you're saying, I didn't understand if you were saying that the ground disturbance would be like for 3 months, meaning if we were to require an arc monitor that you would need them there for 3 months, but Commissioner Cull or McBean, do you have any comments or thoughts?
No further comments.
Could we rely on the discovery clause?
Sorry?
Could we rely
Well,
on the discovery clause?
I mean, it can be applied, definitely. So if we just don't want to require a survey, the discovery clause would just automatically apply. And it's one of those weird situations where I don't know if asking for a survey is going to do us much good.
I know, and I don't understand it.
The
Here's the original and here's the new running together.
yeah. So then, I mean, if the commissioners don't mind, I'll just make a motion to approve the project without a survey, but require the discovery clause.
Yeah, I would go for that, especially, I mean, the limited disturbance is, like 3 feet or something, so. I mean,
Yeah.
if there was something there, yeah, and it's a good fire prevention project. And,
Yeah. So,
yeah, so I would accept a no survey.
so is that a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you. So, a motion has been made by Commissioner Vandewater to accept the project with no survey, but requiring the discovery clause. Seconded by Commissioner Lockhart. We will take a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services says yes. Museum representative,
Aye.
archaeologist representative,
Aye.
and alternate representative.
Yeah.
Motion carries 4-0. No survey will be required, but the discovery clause shall apply. Thank you, Randy and Siobhan.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. What is next on the agenda? So we have, oh, okay. So Bill, you're going to have to recuse yourself for the next one. So,
Correct.
So I'm going to have Angie put you into attendees temporarily. You can do that, right?
Okay.
And then we'll call you in as the agent.
Yeah, if you have any questions.
Okay, we'll pull you in. So next is item 3E, which is case CDP 2021-0008. The owner is Francine Temple. The applicants are Joseph and Jackie Diaz, and the agent is KC1 Properties, Ken Eaton. The request is an administrative CDP to install a roughly 1,900 square foot I'm guessing it's supposed to say manufactured home on a permanent foundation. The request also includes a 575 square foot garage, a 1,000 square foot deck, paved driveway, walkways, some grading, a retaining wall, and landscaping. There will also be connections to the appropriate utilities and the removal of 5 tree stumps. This is located 3.3 miles south of Anchor Bay with an address of 38950 South Highway 1. So first we will discuss among the commissioners, and then we will bring in Mr. Cull for any comments or questions that we might have. And Benjamin, did you get this in time?
Come again?
Did you get the survey I emailed earlier today too?
Yes. Yes.
I have no comments. Who's the 661 number?
William Irwin, or 4B.
Okay.
Later.
Just to clarify, are there existing structures on that?
Do you want to unmute Bill?
Hello?
Okay, we're going to bring Bill back in as the representative of the project, not as a commissioner. So, Bill, I don't know, did he walk away?
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Bill.
No, there are no structures.
Thank
There are
you.
no structures on the property. And none, I went through the Northwest Information Center and, they had no information on any structures on the property. And there were no intact, or partially intact, or there were no, foundational, there were no foundational remains that led me to believe that they were part of a structure. There were a couple of small piles of foundational material in 2 places, but they could have been dumped on that lot, on that vacant lot as well. And the information I got from the Northwest Information Center had no record of there being a building on the property. Although in my research, on a 1960s quad, it looked to me like there was a building at one time, but I could not find any record of what it was. And then the information from the Northwest Information Center had what I thought, the information I got from them showed that building was on the adjacent property to the south and not on that parcel.
Message Mark and see if he's coming for his. Thank you. Do the commissioners have any other questions for Bill?
No.
Okay. Bill, is there any other information you'd like us to have, or is there anyone would like to entertain a motion?
Well, I would like to say something is that, when the planning and building department sends these to the Northwest Information Center, the response was that they didn't have any information on any surveys, in that area. And then when I did an information search, with the Northwest Information Center, there was a survey, that covered a good, a corridor. Okay, there was a survey that David Frederickson did, who's quite a famous archaeologist. He did it in '91. He surveyed the highway, California State Highway 1, which this property's eastern boundary is adjacent, Highway 1. So there was actually a study that covered some of the property, and that survey reported no finds along their survey area, or also no historic buildings.
That's interesting.
And that's in the report too.
Well, I'm happy with the report. May I make a motion? Are the commissioners ready? I believe so. Okay. So I am going to make a motion that we accept the survey for case CDP 2021-0008 with the recommendations. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
So I have a motion to accept the survey for this case by Commissioner Vandewater and a second by Commissioner McBean. We'll take a roll call vote. So Planning and Building Services is a yes. Museum representative?
Aye.
And alternate representative?
Yes.
The survey is accepted 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Cull. And you can now bring him back in as a panelist. Okay. Let's see. So what's next? Let me just write this here. I'm doing a terrible job of that. What did we just do? 3-0. Okay. So next on the agenda is case 3F. This is use permit U 2021-0005. The applicant agent is Undrinkable LLC. Abram, I apologize if I say this incorrectly, but Deixler. The request is a major use permit for the construction of a roughly 1,000 square foot packaging and processing winery facility. No vineyards are proposed, and this is located 2 miles east of Mendocino Village, with an address of 43050 Little Lake Road. And I believe we have the planner, Mark Cliser, in attendance for this. So we will have a brief discussion, and then we will have Mark present any additional information that he might have. So is there any discussion amongst the commission, or should I bring Mark in?
Reconnected now, you can continue.
Thank you. So I'm not seeing any comments from the commissioner, so I'm gonna allow Mark Cliser to speak if he has anything he'd like to contribute. Mark, if you'd like to provide any information.
Hi, Mark Cliser, Planner One. No additional information at this time. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there a remnant, is there a part of Jack Waters Creek on the property?
There is a freshwater wetland on the property. Jack Waters Creek,
I don't believe it starts on the parcel.
No, it does not.
It starts like to the very southwest of it.
Correct.
And is the wetland above that?
The wetland is to the northeast of the head of the creek. And it also extends further southeast.
Traffic congestion.
Here?
At Little Lake Road, it's nothing that way.
No, but they have to, Mark will have to take that into consideration when he's reviewing it. Because there's, this definitely has to go through CEQA, so that will definitely be a consideration.
It should be during the winter.
Yeah.
Hey, Vandy, can you put it up on the, can you put the topo thing up on the screen?
Sure, so,
Okay.
The prop,
no,
In here?
go, pull network down. And scroll up. What the heck?
Yeah, where's our,
Put the,
there we go.
and this is, so, current,
Yeah, huh?
yeah.
can you see the wetland?
And then 2021. Yeah, and then go to agency referral. And then do, oh, he doesn't put them in the order. Do topo. Up, right there.
Yeah, I'll just give me a moment.
Yep. And just do screen.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just, yeah. So, Bill, that square kind of in the middle, that's the solid square.
Right.
That's the parcel, and
Can
then the Jack Peters starts to the southeast, that little blue line. Southwest, my bad.
Can you do the satellite picture of it?
Sure. And let's do aerial, I think just aerial. Yeah. And I will say, so most of that vegetation is Mendocino cypress, the pygmy forest.
Uh-huh.
Some of it was removed by the previous landowner in preparation for selling it. So some of that has already been cleared of vegetation, mostly in the middle.
What happens if you clicked onto that wetland, the wetland, I noticed in the list on the side, one of the choices was, wetlands.
Go back to the share drawing. Wetlands. Up.
Yeah,
One more, yeah.
yeah. What does that do?
So that's referring to what they're calling a freshwater shrub wetland. And it's mostly all pygmy.
Uh-huh. Huh. Interesting.
The applicant is attempting to get into the meeting, but is having issues.
It's interesting that the document that we got on the project has the wetland in a different place than this map is showing the wetland. The wetland in the wetland in the document we have shows it in the what would that be, the bottom corner to the west, the southwest corner, more or less. Anyway, I think I kind of have a feeling what I'd like to see, so.
Well, let's go. I guess the applicant is trying to get into the meeting, so.
If you give me just a minute, I can try one thing before we.
Yeah. We're gonna take a minute and see if we can get the applicant into the meeting. I guess they were having technical difficulties. So let's bring them in to see if they have any answers to our questions. Is Mark messaging you?
Mark, no. It's Avram from Absentee Winery, and it says that I need to unmute him, but he's not listed as an attendee or a panelist, so somehow he's not in the meeting the right way. I resent the invite, hoping that that link will allow him in to speak. He's going to be calling in, is our understanding, and may not be on Zoom per the planner.
Well, if he calls in, he should.
Yeah, his number should pop up.
Yeah, right? It
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give it an extra minute. I don't know what Matt Bill is looking at.
He's not. Our office manager is also trying to communicate with the applicant and says that he is on the phone now, but unfortunately I don't see him in the Zoom meeting. Perhaps, I'm sorry, it's beyond my technical expertise at this point. I don't know.
If the commissioners don't mind, can we continue on the agenda and come back to this just to give the applicant some time to figure out the technical difficulties?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll come back to this item and see if we can get Abram on the phone. So then moving on to item 4, which is review.
Wait, I'm sorry, let me just hold for a moment. Okay, thank you, there you go.
Okay. So this is 4A, which is AP 2019-0085. The owner applicant are Joseph Emmel and Julianne Staffsling. The request is an administrative permit for a large outdoor cannabis cultivation site. It is located roughly 5.5 miles southeast of Leggett with an address of 58590 Bell Springs Road. And I do not believe we have anyone here for the project.
This is the second time we've seen this one.
There was supposed to be, because they did submit an updated one, I thought. I had seen an updated one.
And, okay, so there were 2 sites. WRA 02 is out of the boundary, and they have informed the property owners to avoid it.
Right.
And the other one, WRA 01, they wanted to place water tanks on it, and his recommendation and advice to them was they can place the water tanks, but it has to be on the road, which is not part of the site, although it's adjacent to the site.
Right.
So the way it stands, we should accept the survey, I think.
Is there any other comments by commissioners?
No.
No, I agree with you.
Okay. So then, can we get a motion, it sounds like?
Yeah, AP 2019-0085. I move that we accept the survey and somehow enforce the recommendations of avoiding both sites.
So I have a motion to approve the survey for case AP 2019-0085 with the recommendations of the report being strictly adhered to. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Second the motion.
So I have a second by Commissioner McBean. We will do a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services says aye. Museum representative?
Aye.
Archaeologist representative?
Aye.
And alternate representative.
Yes.
So the survey is accepted by a motion of 4-0. And there's no one here, so we'll let them know.
I apologize for the technical difficulties that continue to happen, but my online is black at the moment. I'm trying to verify if our meeting is being streamed live at the moment.
Okay.
Someone within our, and people aren't able to get in another part, 4B.
That's the person that's in
Maybe
attendance.
it was recommended that we take a quick break.
Okay. So the commission is going to take a 5-minute recess to deal with technical difficulties. We will be back momentarily.
Okay, we're muted.
Let me
We're
go
on
check to
screen.
see if we're being blacked out.
Okay. I'm back. Oh. Shit.
Okay, we're being heard.
We are being heard.
Yes, and we're still on the screen for some reason. I don't know why it's flat.
Okay.
We're not screen sharing anymore, right?
No,
Okay.
we're not sharing anymore.
Okay, interesting. Strange.
Yeah.
But
We're
yeah.
muted, so let's unmute.
Okay, we're unmuted.
We are now unmuted.
Are you back?
Yes. So we just got through that one.
I was able to speak with the planner, Mark Cliser for Avram, the U 2021-0005. He'll be connecting through to Mark's phone, and Mark can.
We're not gonna do that because the connection's already bad. But it looks like an attendees.
Oh, one more.
Is this Avram?
Oh, thank God. Can you guys hear me?
Is this Avram?
Hello?
Avram?
Yes, this is. Yeah,
All right.
hi. Representing Absentee Winery, LLC.
Let me just
Thank you so much.
let me get you back on the thing. So we just approved 4A. So let's go back to 3F, which is that U 2021-0005 that we were just looking at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we have Avi on the phone. So Avi, I don't know if you have any comments for us, or if the commission
Of course.
has any comments.
I've been fighting tooth and nail to comment. It's something I really wanted to be able to do. So thank you for unmuting me. If you can imagine, I was just yelling at my phone, listening to you guys talk, trying to say, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" But here I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
So my comments are this. I was. Hello?
Can you mute us? Sorry, Avi, you can keep going.
No worries. I was told about this meeting about a month and a half ago, this commission, after I had already submitted and paid for a building permit and a major use permit application. I, of course, am really supportive of archaeological and even furthermore Native American archaeological work. But I want to stress a few things about the project that will hopefully hinder any disruption to the development of this tiny parcel. I should actually mention the development of half the parcel. So the first point that I want to make is the parcel is 4.88 acres, and I've pledged to develop half, so 2.44 acres. And when I say develop, I mean that in a pretty loose sense. The only thing that I'm trying to build is a wine production facility, which a lot of people, when they hear the word winery, they think like a large estate. Really, I just operate in pretty much a garage. So that's what I'm trying to build, with no runoff being put into the land. All waste is going to be disposed of off-site. and the facility is 984 square feet. So we're talking less than 1,000 square feet. You know, I should also mention that the property abuts Jackson State Forest. So there is quite a bit of land behind us. So I don't really know what a survey of my 4.88 acres would do in the face of that large swath of forest. I think that the planning commission, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Is the 2.4 that you want to develop for the wine processing area, is that in the wetland? I mean, how could it be in the wetland?
On the, not yet the question, but on the GIS county website, there is a wetland, section that does go over part of the property, but the property hasn't been delineated a wetland at all. And I don't know, in my opinion, it's buildable land, and the same from the opinion of a soil engineer. Yeah. So does that answer that question? I mean, yeah, I was sort of surprised, and that was one of the frustrating things, was not being able to comment when I heard the property being discussed as a wetland. It's not. There aren't any telltale signs of, like, I don't know, beaver dams or whatever, mosquitoes or whatever.
I'd like to comment that wetlands don't necessarily require there be water all the time. It's largely due to vegetation type.
Okay. Well, speaking of vegetation, one of the reasons why I bought this property is to preserve the Mendocino Coast woodland that is sort of very rare and unregulated. Unregulated, it would be stamped out in the name of development on this privately owned parcel. I got there, the previous owner had cleared about 1.5 acres of trees, and I proceeded to clean up that 1.5 acres and had a few people out with Mark. One of them, who works for environmental health, was a pretty remarkable wealth of knowledge on that habitat. And we pretty much said that in order to preserve those trees, I would need to be a little bit creative about the way that I want to develop that property. That's a big part of why I'm not putting any wastewater into the forest, into a septic system, because I would need to clear more trees to serve that septic system, to build that septic system. So, did you just do back? Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I also wanted to mention the soil. I mean, but I don't want to talk above my pay grade. I just feel like I need to comment, and hopefully the commission will find that, a project of this size and, this type doesn't warrant something that would just really, hopefully it wouldn't get in my way if it does end up happening, but, I've already seen how long this process can take, and I'm just worried that it's going to be inhibitive to me being successful as a small business,
I have a question. I've been up there on Pygmy Forest quite a number of times, and the ground is usually almost a hard solidified sandstone. Is that what the soil is like where you want to build your processing building?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I did have a soils engineer come and take samples of the soil. I'm happy to share that report with the commission.
But I mean, when you're up there and you look at the ground, is it that hard white sandstone?
I don't really want to comment because I don't know what
Okay.
sandstone looks or feels like.
Basically,
Is there a reason that
there's basically there's no soil, and it's the pygmy forest floor is usually a rather hard surface of sandstone with very little soil.
Okay. What does that mean in terms of the potential for archaeological finds in that area?
So
In terms of recent history, not like a marine layer or anything like that.
okay. On the project map, there's a blue area that looks like you could say it looks like Italy or something. Is that the road? Is that the gravel road?
Yes, I believe. Yeah, Italy is a good way to put that. Yeah, that's the road, the access to the property.
Okay, and then the red.
Avi,
The
there's
red
a lot of
rectangle.
background noise from their end. I don't know if you can mute yourself when you're not speaking, please.
Sorry, yeah, I can try that.
Okay, so the red rectangle is your processing building.
Sorry, yes, the red rectangle is the process building, yeah.
Okay. So were you required to do a plant survey? A biological, with what is it? Not Fish and Game, but Vandy, who is it that requires
Sorry, I was muted.
survey?
No, I haven't done a biological survey yet, but I have reached out to a local biological surveyor. The cost was a little bit prohibitive to me. It was estimated to as an $8,000 cost to survey the property, and that is a little much for me at the moment.
So is that something you're required to do?
I don't believe so, but the planning commission, I think, would be the authority on that.
So Vandy, is she going to be required to do?
Well, actually,
plant
what
survey?
we would do is we would refer this project to the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they would make the determination as to help us determine what resources might be there. So I guess I would defer to Mark Cliser, the planner, to see what Fish and Wildlife has responded on regarding this project.
Hi, Mark Cliser, Planner 1. During the site visit, we had CDFW and the Water Board out there. CDFW did not mention a biosurvey. However, the Water Board was requesting potentially a wetland delineation map. I have yet to discuss further with them.
Okay, yeah, I would like to see the wetland delineation map. Personally, I mean, my concern is that because there's a wetland and it is the headwaters of Jack Peterson Creek, it's a water source, and as a water source and a wetland, it would have been used by Native Americans, and so I'm trying to figure out where it is and how it relates to your gravel driveway and to the building footprint. That's where I'm coming from in terms of Native American use area as a wetland.
So I'm hearing that either it sounds like you would either want this wetland delineation survey before you make a determination or they could go ahead with a survey, an archaeological survey, and just move forward with that.
I mean, we can do a survey of the gravel road and the gravel road footprint and the building footprint. I mean, that would be like, that would make sense to me, given this whole wetland thing.
Right. Is there any other comments by Commissioner Lockhart or Commissioner McBean? Did we lose Commissioner McBean?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So, Avi, I didn't know, does either one of those, is there a preferred path? Would you prefer doing a survey, an archaeological survey of your ground disturbance sites, or would you prefer to get the wetland delineation complete and then have that map submitted?
Hey, hi, sorry, I wasn't able to respond when you guys were talking about wetland delineation versus archaeological survey. I think really for a project of this size, I mean, the building footprint that you're talking about is under 1,000 square feet. I think it's a little overkill, either one of those. But I'm not a planner.
Again,
I'm on the commission.
as Commissioner Cull provided the reasoning for wanting either of those two options. So we
yeah, the reason was that a creek, I think that you guys think a creek runs through the property. It does not that I've seen.
Well, no, we didn't say it runs through it. We said it starts there along with the wetland.
Ah.
So as a headwaters, it's a viable site for Native American resources.
Okay. Wouldn't the water source be a more viable site for a community to build around?
It's a vegetative resource procurement area. And that's why I was wondering about I mean, I'm sorry I can't be there and look at the property, but I'm just concerned about it being a use area because of the wetland, and I'm trying to figure out where the wetland, where they would delineate the wetland, and where that would relation to the gravel road and to the building footprint. Because it is a wetland area and a resource area prehistorically, I thought, well, we could survey the driveway and building footprint and let it go.
All right, I just feel like, this was a subdivision. This property has been private property for a long time, and I think there's 11 other properties within this subdivision. I don't think any of those development plans have had to go through any sort of archaeological survey, even though they may share wetland properties that you're talking about. It just feels a little bit unfair. I think I have enough on my plate in terms of development, getting this structure up safely and legally. This is just going to be prohibitive, and I just really think that the size of the project doesn't warrant this much. It doesn't warrant a survey. It just doesn't.
Well, this is Sam Vandy Vandewater, just to provide clarification. So most of the surrounding development, if I remember correctly, is residential, which is a permitted use type and doesn't require any discretionary action. Unfortunately, for the use that you are seeking to conduct on this site, it does require discretionary action, which is why we go through this process. So that's why there's a discrepancy between the residential and the commercial development that you're proposing.
So those homes on septic and wells, that are using more resources are subject to less scrutiny than my small project. I mean, I think this building must be the smallest.
I think the point is that, I mean, the Archaeological Commission's job is to protect cultural resources, historic and historic, and that's, I mean, unfortunately, that's why we're here. Or fortunately.
No, that's not unfortunate. That's a wonderful it's a wonderful reason to have a commission. I just, you know, as a member of the public, I think that it's just a shame to see the commission wasting resources on a project that it just seems like the applicant's just getting bullied from every corner. You know, as soon as I started this process, both building and planning, you know, it's been one after the other with environmental, biological surveys and water surveys, and, you know, I just feel like I'm getting tossed from commission to commission, and I think this is just a moment when, you know, I have to speak up for myself and request that this project not be killed by overbearing surveys and commission reports, and, you know, you guys are just sort of killing my project here, and it's really frustrating, you know.
Well, if I may, I think the conversation is there any more information that you'd like us to consider before we make a determination?
I don't know.
Jackson State Forest, the clay soil. I guess not.
All right, cool. Does any commissioner have a recommended motion?
Well, other than sticking to the footprint of the driveway and the processing building, if the wetland was delineated and those were out of the wetland, I mean, maybe that would make a difference.
Do you think, could I have the option and review this further to see which would be more cost effective, the wetland delineation or the archaeological survey?
You can, but that would mean we need to continue this to the next hearing, and so then when you come back, if you determine you want a survey, you're gonna have, I mean, you can, but it's gonna prolong the project.
Well, I definitely don't want that.
So maybe the commissioners should talk for a minute. Can the commissioners talk for a moment?
Yes. What do you mean EPA?
What's the EPA guidelines on wetlands in this particular category?
Well, then that's, I think what happened was when there was that violation or the removal of the vegetation, Mark Cliser went out there with the applicant and I think he said CDFW and the water board, and it was the water board that requested a wetland delineation. So I think the EPA defers to the states on a lot of items like that. So I think what the standard that the water board is seeking is what we would see for a report. And then just for the conversation, I know I'd be comfortable with either getting that wetland delineation and then making our determination from there, or just requesting a survey of the building footprints, given the information that Bill Cull had mentioned. And I don't have a problem with offering both options. So
I think the cheapest thing for him would be the survey of the gravel driveway and the building footprint, those two footprints. And forget about, I think the delineation of the wetland would be a lot more expensive.
I'm inclined to agree.
So then, do I have a motion for that?
Sure, I'd make a motion for U 2021-005 that we recommend a survey of the two footprints, the gravel driveway and the building.
So I have a motioner by Commissioner Cull to request a survey for case U 2021-0005. Surveying the gravel driveway and the proposed structure footprint. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
So I have a second by Commissioner McBean and Commissioner Lockhart. So we will take a roll call vote. Planning and Building Services is an aye. Museum representative?
Aye.
Arc representative?
Aye.
And alternate representative?
Yes.
So a survey is required by a motion of 4-0. Cool. All right, thank you, Mark and Avi. So where are we? So we skipped one, didn't we? Yes, we went back and then we did 4A, so now we're on 4B, which, let's see. So this is case 4B, which is CDP 2020-0022. The owner applicant are William and Audrey Irwin. The request is a standard CDP to develop a vacant parcel with a single family residence, a detached garage, an on-site well with a pump house, water storage tank, and a driveway. This is located about 3 miles south of Albion with an address of 1656 Cameron Road, Elk. And I believe we have both the archaeologist for the project, Alex DeGiorgi, as well as Bill Irwin.
Correct.
So we will have a brief discussion amongst the commission, and then we'll allow the applicant and the applicant's archaeologist to provide comment and answers. Yeah. So is there any comment amongst the commission before we bring in the two representatives of the project?
Well, I would just say that Alex is probably the most professional archaeologist for reports that we get from any archaeologist, and he didn't find anything there, so I'd be happy to accept the report.
So it looks like there's no other comments by commissioners, so we'll bring in Alex and Bill. Alex and Bill, is there any additional comments you'd like us to consider?
Thank you for the nice words, Bill. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. I did want to comment that there must have been some sort of hiccup with the last Art Commission meeting. This was an agenda item for last month. The client had hired us and paid extra money for a rapid response study, which we executed and submitted to the planning department. And in the last meeting, you guys voted to require a survey rather than reviewing this report. So I'd like some sort of explanation of what happened there. This impacts the client, my client, who is a resident of Mendocino County. He's paying to have these environmental studies done. You've effectively delayed his project a month. So I think he deserves some explanation of what happened there.
Well, I do apologize that happened. Unfortunately, there was an error in the scheduling process, and Unfortunately, the project was scheduled for, to be reviewed to determine a survey as opposed to the review of a survey. Well, I did check, I saw that the survey was, after the fact, I did see that the survey had been added in time to be heard by the commission. Unfortunately, there was just a collapse in internal process.
Thanks.
I mean, accidents happen.
No, they do. We do. Again, we do apologize, and we do appreciate your understanding and patience with the department at the moment. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any better explanation other than it was just an internal error on our end.
It's called COVID brain fog.
We just want to thank you guys for everything that you do.
Well, other than, I mean, did Bill or Alex, did you have any additional comments? Because otherwise, I think Bill was able to make a motion of approval.
No additional comments except thank you for your all the volunteering you do. You know, all these commissions are here for free, taking their time. We do appreciate that.
As do we.
I'm going to defer to the others because I work here, so.
So we want me to make a motion?
Yeah, Bill, if you'd like to.
Okay, I make a motion that CDP 2020-0022, they would accept the survey with the recommendations and the discovery clause.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Cull to accept the survey for case CDP 2020-0022 with the recommendations and the discovery clause. Do I have a second?
Lockhart, Commissioner, will second.
Okay, so I have a second by Commissioner Lockhart. We will take a roll call vote. Planning and Building is an aye. Museum representative?
Aye.
Archaeologist representative?
Aye.
And alternate representative?
Yeah.
The motion carries 4-0. The survey is accepted. Thank you again, Alex and Bill, and I do apologize and hope that we can provide better service in the future.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you, Alex.
Sure, Bill. Bye.
So we are on our last item, which should not be too much because this is my project. This is case, or item 4C, which is case CDP 2021-0004. Oh, and Lois, I forgot to print you out one. Oh, is that?
Isn't it?
Yes, but there was additional information. So last meeting,
Oh, that's right.
you all the commission requested the communications with the tribe, and the agent for the project provided those to me, and I forwarded those to you with email. And Lois, I can print that for you if you'd like. Otherwise, I did receive tribal communications, so they were conducted for the project.
Okay, how many responded?
0. 0.
Not even.
I don't believe so. I didn't see any responses in the packet. But they did send it to about 17 different groups.
Yeah. Well, I come from many summers up that area.
Yeah.
So I know it exists.
So I didn't know, does the tribal consultation satisfy the commission?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I know that my tribe has difficulty corresponding even with tribal members due to the COVID, because, you know, that it's impact everyone when doing business, but I'm hoping for better communication in the future.
Yeah. So since is my project, I would prefer if someone else made a motion, please.
Okay, I have a comment. Maybe it would be good if the parks database called the PCRD, maybe they should share that with the information center.
So is that more of a comment that you'd like me to communicate to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be nice if they shared their PCRD database with the Northwest Information Center.
Okay.
That might be a slightly smart-ass comment, but whatever.
Including the character inclusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so with that comment, Bill, or anyone, can I have a motion?
Oh, for KCDP 2021-004, we accept their communication.
So I have a motion to accept the survey and its subsequent communication that was provided for case CDP 2020-00. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry. So I have a motion to accept the survey and subsequent communications that were provided for case CDP 2021-0004 by Commissioner Cull. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
And I have a second by Commissioner McBean. We'll take a roll call vote. Planning on Building is gonna abstain. Museum representative?
Aye.
Archaeologist representative?
Aye.
And alternate representative.
Yeah.
So the motion carries 3-0 to 1. And with that, we are done with the surveys for today. But moving along the agenda, we have matters from staff. There are none. Matters from the commission?
Let's see.
Hearing none, we do have one matter from the public, and that is going to be a comment by Amy Wen. We will give Amy 3 minutes to comment, and then if the commission, would like to further discuss the comments, we can allot further time. So Amy, if you would like to begin, we have the clock ready for when you begin speaking.
Hello, commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, super, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me speak as a matters from the public. Our company, Wind Coastal Planning and Biology, is starting to assist some inland cannabis clients. Mostly we're focused on Appendix G, but I just want to see if you would be able to at some point give me a better understanding of what the parameters are when the Archaeological Commission is considering potential surveys within inland properties. The language in the Appendix G is a little bit confusing for me because as you guys know, we're used to in the coastal zone, since there has been so much activity in the coastal zone over the millennia, we're used to ordering up archaeological surveys more often rather than less often. And I'm wondering, what are the basic, if you could comment, it would be super. I'm looking for what are the some of the basic parameters prior to a survey being required that might lead to such a survey. I don't know if that was a clear question at all or not, but
I understand.
how would I know as a consultant how to advise somebody whether they need a survey prior to the county advising them?
Yeah. Well, so should I make a comment?
Yeah, Bill, I think you'd be the best at answering this.
Yeah. You know, Native American use areas are usually found on main trending ridges that are traversing east-west from inland to the coast. Use areas around springs, headwaters of a perennial, headwaters of streams, adjacent streams. I don't know, does that help?
Yeah,
those are
fantastic. Thank you so much.
And I mean, just from my experience on the Archaeological Commission, it seems like, you know, you have traces of Native American heritage pretty much everywhere except like steep slopes. I mean, they really traverse the county.
Yeah, large rock outcrops around large rock outcrops often are sites. So springs and wetlands also. Yeah, that probably covers it.
Super. That is very, very informative and very helpful and somewhat intuitive. So thank you. I very much appreciated your being able to respond to my question. And thanks for all that you do.
And Amy, I apologize, Bill, if I'm speaking for you, but I'm sure Bill wouldn't mind, you know, having an email conversation about a little bit further if you should have any follow-up questions.
Super, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I don't have any other matters from public?
No matters, no more matters.
Okay, with that, can I get an motion to adjourn?
Yeah, just before that, we have two that are coming back in order to save paper. Should we keep those reports?
You can. I think Jim just sent that anyway.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Please keep the report just in case.
Yeah, I would keep it to be safe.
Yeah.
Okay, now which ones were they? There were two of them.
It was the first case, 3A, which is the Krigan MS 2020-0004.
Okay.
And then 3C, which is the CDP 2019-0003.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So what about the dates before the board of supervisors?
What?
Before the board of supervisors? Are we still on their agenda?
For which day? For what?
Yeah, our commission. Weren't we supposed to be go before the board of supervisors?
No. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's the appeal. No, the appeal, I believe, was it today?
No.
It's July.
The appeal is going to be in July. I do not have an exact date at this time.
I think it's their July 6th meeting. It's a Tuesday.
The report will be online by 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
For viewing.
Okay, so I'll send out a link about the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the appeal, I believe, is next month on the 6th.
August 6th.
July
July 6th.
July 6th.
Yeah. Okay. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you guys very much and enjoy the rest of your very nice week because it's not burning hot.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Thank you.
Okay. Good
Bye.
seeing you, Vandy. Good seeing you, Lois.
Good to see
Bye.
you, Bill.
Thank you.
So who is the lady that called in?
She's Amy Wynn. She works in Fort Bragg as like a consultant.
Oh, okay.
And I guess they're going to be doing more